Excellent, excellent, excellent. Excellent. We are live. I am Jeff with Magic Daddy Tarot, and uh, while I am a tarot card reader, I'm also in a long term BDSM relationship dynamic. I'm the dominant in that relationship, and I have a submissive who's collared, and it is a DDLG. I'm a daddy dominant, and she is a little. And so um, that's just a little of my background. And today I wanted to discuss using and utilizing affirmation cards in a BDSM relationship dynamic. Now, I've been using these for over 10 years, and I've been using them on myself, and I've also used them with children, and so they are, and adults, and so they're useful for people of all ages. But today we specifically want to talk about utilizing them in an adult uh, BDSM and or relationship dynamic. And so the relationships I'm talking about are adults 18 plus. Uh, like I said, their affirmation cards are useful for people of all ages, but the types of things we're talking about today are adult only. And so I just wanted to give that as a little precursor because my channel may have different people from different walks of life watching it. And so thank you for attending this live video and, or watching the recorded version playback. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about cards. As a tarot card reader, I typically use tarot cards. Let me grab a deck right here. This is a deck I like to use right here. This is the Next World Tarot, and this is the pocket edition. I have big cards, and tarot cards generally. I'm going to grab a few of them out of here, just a couple. And so, tarot cards are typically have things like the king of this one's the King of Swords, and they generally have pictures on them, and then they may have some words, and they have meetings. There's the Death card in this one. There's death. There's a picture. There's a number. This one is a water Scorpio Mars. It has some astrology on it and some zodiac type stuff. And so those are tarot cards. And tarot cards. Here's a Revolution card. I like that one. And so tarot cards are useful in practice, but they take a lot of interpretation. Let me put these back here. They take a lot of interpretation and somewhat of a skill to read them. The cards I'm talking about today are mainly going to be talking about affirmation cards, which are a lot simpler. And I want to also show a deck of oracle cards. Sometimes oracle cards are just a picture and like one keyword, but I have a set of oracle cards that kind of work in the similar or same way as an affirmation card would. So, like I said, I've been using affirmations, and I actually started using them in when I was involved in the Christian church, when I was involved in preaching and teaching and that sort of thing. For years, I used them. I use them in children's ministry and such to help people speak about things that were true about who they are and or like goals of things to work toward. And that's what an affirmation is. So the definition of an affirmation is it is something that is true about me, and it's also something that I may not presently see as a reality in my life, but it's a goal that I'm working towards. And so let me grab an affirmation deck here. This one is the legendary affirmation cards. There's the box for it. Let me point it where we can get. There we go. The legendary. Affirmation cards. Uh, it says manifest a life you were meant to live in under 5 minutes per day. So this was a set of cards that I got. They look like this. There's like 100 or some odd cards in this. Let me grab one of these here. So these are the card backs. They just say the legendary affirmation cards. This is a purple one. They're color coded for different types of things. This one is a spiritual card, and it says, I am courageous. I am willing to act and face my fears. So an affirmation card will have like a little statement like that, a statement about me. And I use affirmation cards, like I said, I've used them for years to build myself up, to begin to believe things about myself that were true, things that I needed to, things that needed to be realities of my life. As a dominant, there's a lot of pressure on you to, there's a lot of pressure on you because you are like the somewhat of the parental figure in your submissive's life. There's a lot there's a lot resting on your shoulders. There's a lot of, you carry a lot of responsibility. You don't carry all of it, but you carry a lot of responsibility. And so you have to be not just an assertive person, but you need to be a strong and healthy person. And affirmation cards are one way. This one right here says, I defy the odds. So this is another spiritual one. I defy the odds. There's ones in here for general. There's ones in here for love and relationships. There's money and career. There's physical and body image. So there's a lot of different types of cards in this one deck. And there's even these right here. They included some cards which I didn't really use, but have empty lines where I can write a personal affirmation, something that is, related just to me if I wanted to write my own. And so, affirmation cards, what are they? I've kind of discussed that. They're they're short statements that are true about who I am as a person or who I am becoming. They are goals to be realized, goals to be kind of set in place for myself. And, we'll talk in a moment about some of the how. How do I use them? But one of the things I do every day is I pull one every day and I read it aloud to myself. And so we're just going over some types here. This is one type of affirmation cards. I also use these right now. These are the ones I'm going through. It says, because I love myself. There we go. Because I love myself. These are Lucy Cavendish cards. They are healing messages of love from your soul to yourself. And they teach a self-love. And these are really good. These would be good for you or your sub. And let me see. This is one from a couple days ago. Here it is. Let me grab it. Here, sorry. Trying to get it out of here. It says, I am important. It says, no matter what is happening in my life, I make time for self-care. I am the most important person in my world, and I care for me first. So it's just a little statement. These are unique cards. Let me read the back of it here, the back of the box. I like this little box. It says, experience the inspirational and healing power of self-love with these beautiful and compassionate cards. And so this right here is a 55 card deck, and it's kind of like a little personal devotional. And this one is, related to my own self-love. I mentioned earlier real fast that I also use oracle cards, or I have a set of oracle cards that is useful for affirmations. And this is it right here. This is the box. This is the Creativity Oracle. It's one of my favorites. It is It's visions of enchantment. It says to guide and inspire magic makers. And I am Magic Daddy, so I am definitely a maker of magic. And these are related to creativity and such. Uh, let's pull one here. Um, Here's one of the cards. This one got kind of dirty. I don't know if I got that on there, but this one is the limits card. Sorry, my lights are kind of bright in here. The limits card. It says, know that limiting attitudes are often formed as protective reactions to past events. So these are like little different truths. Here's one that says direction. It's a direction card. It says to switch gears, reboot, and try a new and different direction. And so these are these are somewhat action cards, but they're still yeah, like here's a good one. Here's the patience card here. The patience card. Now these have unique little like collages on the back because and every one of them is unique. None of them are the same. They're all different. And this one says, creativity takes time, and sometimes a project can seem to be taking too long or seem to be failing. And so, like I said, these are not exactly affirmation cards, but they do have these little short one-word statements on them. So you could, if you had a deck similar to this, you could use these as affirmations, but they're not quite personal enough of statements. And so you can write your own. You could use little 3x5 cards or sticky notes, post-it notes, and you could write your own. Now, in a BDSM relationship dynamic, especially the DDLG, a lot of times as a punishment, a dominant will have a submissive write lines, and that's like writing the same thing like 100 different times, filling up a sheet of paper. I will not leave my clothes on the floor. I will not leave my clothes on the floor. I will not leave my clothes on the floor. Stuff like that. Or they could be a statement like, I am special and my daddy loves me. I am special and my daddy loves me. And so it could be a statement like that. And an affirmation is similar to that. It's a statement that is read aloud, but it's more powerful because it's a personal statement of a truth. And so affirmation cards to me are a lot more effective than writing lines at personal change. Writing lines, as my partner was and I were discussing this before, is more of a punishment, but affirmations are more of a preventative thing to even needing the punishment. I see a lot of times, a lot of us go into a relationship, and when we get into the relationship, we are bringing baggage with us. We're bringing hurts and wounds. And a wise person once said that hurts and wounds give hurts and wounds. And so, really, what that is saying is that if you come into a relationship wounded and hurt, you'll most likely wound and hurt your partner more and more because you'll be moving out of a wounded and hurt, and you'll be defensive and offensive to your partner. And so we want to be healthy for our partner. And the more that I'm healthy and the more that I'm helping build my partner into healthy habits and healthy goals, and the more that I can get them to believe truthful things about themselves, the better and more healthy our relationship will be. I've also heard it said once before, maybe this is a kind of a common thing, but that if you get into a marriage won't solve any problems. It'll amplify the problems that you already have. And so that is really kind of true for any kind of deficiency that we have, that a relationship will oftentimes amplify any kind of deficiency. And so one of the ways we can counteract that is by using these affirmation cards. Let me grab another one here out of this box. Here's a general one. I am a better me today. Let me put it there. I am a better me today. And so these little true statements, let me see if I can find a love and relationship. Oh, there was money and career. Here's a physical and a body image one. right here. It says, I create my own beauty. I take care of my body outside and in. I feel and look my best. There's a lot of people that don't feel that or don't love their own body. They don't love their body image. They don't love their body type for whatever reason. But they got to realize that when you fall in love with someone, you fall in love with everything that is about them. You don't just pick and choose. Not in a committed relationship. You don't just pick. I like this about this person, and I don't like this. Uh, this is 11 relationships. My goal is always to create harmony and clarity. That's a good love and relationship one. And so these are, when you begin to say this to yourself over and over again, this is my goal, is to always create harmony and clarity. This is my goal. And when you think on that for a day and you just, build one on top of another, on top of another, on top of another, you start building positivity. You start building solutions instead of just looking at problems. You start building solutions into your relationship and into your own personal life. And you start really, that is the definition also of what magic is. Magic is changing through a determination of your will, changing your own subjective universe. It's so in other words, that means changing me. Magic is when I change myself, the things around me begin to change. The way that I approach every situation somewhat changes. There is a certain supernatural-ish aspect to magic as well, but but those are all things that in rituals and type things are things that are building me as a better me. And so, affirmations is one similar type of thing to that, is that it is building a better me. And so, some of the uses as well, if I was in a dominant, submissive relationship and my partner, say I was struggling to affirm my partner, I may have my partner pull a card every day, and if there's any distance between us, have them video, with the selfie with their phone, video themselves reading the card aloud, and then send it to me each day. If I was in person, we would. When we woke up in the morning, we would pull a card together and we would both speak that to ourselves, but we would also read it aloud each to the other partner so that we would be building each other up. It's somewhat similar to like in religions where people pray, but oftentimes they pray like outwardly to something else. This would be like praying to ourselves, for ourselves, about ourselves. And so, but it's very highly effective. I've seen a lot of changes in me as a person. Really, often I really need to invest in me as a dominant because my partner is relying on me. And so a lot of times in a dominant submissive relationship, a BDSM relationship, we tend to focus heavily on all of the sexual aspects of those things, and we tend to somewhat ignore these aspects, the actual relationship building, and really oftentimes that the relationships aren't built very well, and they tend to explode or implode, and we tend to, they tend to end very badly and cause a lot of trauma and pain for both people involved. And then we take our wounded and hurt selves into a new relationship, or we think that BDSM is the problem, and really BDSM is just going to amplify any of the problems we already have in ourselves, and just like a marriage would. And so we really need to take the time to invest in the relationship as well, to invest in the goals and setting goals. A lot of times we need to invest in the reward and punishment, the behavior change kinds of things. But also as a dominant, I need to be changing my behavior as well. It's not all this one-sided to where the only one that grows in a relationship is the submissive. The dominant should also be growing as well. And growing doesn't mean just learning a new way to paddle someone or a new way to use a riding crop or a new sexual technique to use. It's also becoming a better and more magical person yourself. And so I know it may seem like I kind of rambled a little bit. I didn't really have an outline for this, but a lot of times we don't know to think about the things we don't know to think about. And I wanted to be the kind of person that gives you something to think about that you didn't wasn't even on your radar, something that you didn't even think to think about. And so affirmation cards like these like these legendary affirmation cards, or like these, there's all kinds of different kinds of decks. These are just a couple that I have and use, uh, or even like the creativity oracle, or a different kind of oracle deck that has short statements like that on it. Those types of things are tools for us to utilize to become better people. And so, anyways, those are something that you may not have ever thought about or thought about using or utilizing. And then maybe you didn't even think beyond the sexual aspects of your BDSM relationship, and that is something that you need to sit down as a dominant and a submissive and negotiate and discuss, and see what kind of areas in which you can grow as a couple and grow as individuals in that couple. And so, uh, in my relationship, we didn't really have a lot of those kinds of things to work on, but I already came into the relationship knowing how to affirm my partner, and I even sometimes along the way discovered some ways that I can affirm my partner. But I already knew that affirmation was a huge and vital part. And also, I didn't come into the relationship with tons of baggage. I have some things, that I've been going through as a person, and she has as well. But we didn't come into this relationship with just tons of baggage to try to hurt each other, or wounds to pass along to each other. Any of those things that came up were opportunities to affirm and to grow and to show our dedication and commitment and love for each other. And so we've always heavily focused on our relationship and not just our BDSM. And so that's really important for everyone to consider, to take into account your relationship. And so, again, I know I kind of rambled a little bit. Maybe this was a little long for you. Hopefully, you stayed through to this part. I just wanted to say thank you for watching. Generally, I do card pulls like I do. If you check the Magic Daddy site, I pull affirmation cards every day. So if you don't have a deck, you can get the notifications and you can see the cards that I pull every day, and you can use them and share them with your submissive, or utilize them yourself as a dominant, or send them to your dominant and say, "Hey, check these out." Send this live video to them and say, "Look, what do you think about these things? I've never thought about these things either before." And kind of respectfully start the conversation in your dynamic. And so I pull those. I pull tarot cards regularly too, and we do different tarot readings, more in a general sense, just kind of seeing. Sometimes we have some topics and things we go through, like it's Pride Month this month, and so we'll go through some of my LGBTQ uh, tarot spreads, and just look at some of those types of things. And then I pull oracle cards kind of when I sense that the week is kind of, or the season is kind of transitioning, and we need kind of a broader focus on things. And so, all right, thank you for watching. Have a great day and continue to be blessed.